China is a country that draws attention due to its cultural differences and Oriental characteristics. In China, relationships occur in a completely different manner from what we are used to. There is a bride market, divorce exams, and women aged 27 are considered too old to marry. If you're already curious about these topics, and much more, stay with me until the end of this video. You will be surprised by the normal things that happen in China that are different from the rest of the world. The divorce process in the rest of the world can be something straightforward to resolve. The couple just needs to agree and sign some documents for everything to be settled. However, in China, it doesn't work the same way. To get divorced there, you and your spouse must undergo an exam that will determine whether the couple is ready for divorce or not. This happens because the government is extremely concerned about the population's birth rate, as most people are elderly. Like in Japan, China also had a high divorce rate at some point, and to prevent couples from separating, and the bad faith of some Chinese who marry for the interest of obtaining benefits, the country's authorities developed exams that can evaluate the couple's relationship situation. Only after this exam is it possible to validate or not the couple's divorce. If this seems absurd to you, wait to see the questions that are applied in the exam. The general rule is simple. If the person gets 60% of the questions right, they will not be eligible for divorce and will need to start over in the relationship. The exam has different formats of questions. Some are statements that you must agree or disagree with. Others are short answer questions, true or false, and many others. The questions in turn are very varied, from the dates of important celebrations like marriage and the birth of children, to the full name and age of your spouse's parents. More intimate questions about the responsibilities of the husband and wife in the family, among others. In total, there are 15 questions. In the last part, there is a written section to raise awareness among the couple about divorce and the issues related to that choice. Many cities have been applying these exams since 2017. The government believes it is a good way to reduce the number of divorces. According to the judge, the test helps to identify problems in the marriage, and after calming down, the couple can talk and consider a new beginning. Restaurants in the shape of bathrooms. Going to the bathroom to shower and perform our morning hygiene are quite common things, but in China, they went further and created themed restaurants that became a worldwide phenomenon. Not only locals, but also many visitors enjoy the experience of eating as if they were inside a bathroom. Instead of traditional chairs, there are toilets. The tables are shaped like sinks, and the dishes and utensils also reflect the same characteristics. The walls have showers and tiles, and the menu and even the food are shaped like excrement, creating an environment as authentic as possible. These restaurants can be easily found around Hong Kong and Taiwan. Some people might find it unpleasant, but it is interesting to see how creativity can be profitable for the owners of these restaurants. And if you think that's all, you're very wrong. There are many other restaurants in China with various themes and formats to choose from. Among them, hospital-themed and prison-themed restaurants stand out. Eating everything that moves. Eating everything that moves is a Chinese saying that means if something moves, we can eat it. Chinese cuisine acquired this peculiar characteristic of consuming anything that moves due to the Great Famine the country faced during the time of the Great Chinese Dynasty, when wars were constant and ordinary citizens had to adapt to very diverse environments. During that period, they began to develop the habit of combining all kinds of plants and animals in their cuisine. Since then, this type of food that deviates from the traditional is considered a delicacy in China. The most famous among tourists are the insect skewers. Chinese birthday is once every 10 years. Chinese culture is very different from the rest of the world. Dates are celebrated according to the lunar calendar, and due to the absence of the number 0, all children are born 1 year old. This also happens with children in South Korea. Traditionally, the Chinese do not usually celebrate birthday parties every year. The first birthday party a child has in China is at 2 years old, and during the party, family members try to guess their future profession. The cake, on the other hand, is not the main dish, but a kind of traditional noodle cake known as longevity noodles. Subsequent birthdays are celebrated according to the Chinese calendar, which equates to a decade of our Gregorian calendar. Therefore, if you receive an invitation from a Chinese friend, don't miss their party, as we don't know when the next one might be. Bride market. Nowadays, many people can arrange dates and meet others with just a few clicks. However, in China, this is not so common, as it is part of their culture for young people to focus on their studies and not think about dating until after finishing university. Due to this dedication to the future and professional careers, romantic relationships tend to take a back seat. This reality faced by young Chinese results in difficulties finding a partner after the age of 20. Because of this and other factors, what is known as the bride market has emerged in China, where parents gather with their children's resumes in the hope of finding someone for them to marry. These gatherings take place in the squares of Shanghai every weekend, with a large number of parents seeking partners for their children, usually looking for men for their daughters. As in China, women are considered old and single after the age of 27. To prevent this from happening, parents bring their daughters' resumes to find people who might be interested in them. When they find someone suitable, the parents create a group to talk among themselves and facilitate the meeting between the children, allowing them to get to know each other. From this point, the future of the relationship depends on the interests and choices of the young man and woman. It is worth noting that the Chinese only engage in relationships with a view to a serious commitment, which means marriage may be on their minds from the beginning. Another curiosity about the bride market in China is that there is also a demand for foreigners, as some Chinese consider it a matter of status for their daughter to marry a foreigner, and the richer the better. The game of interests, especially on the part of some parents, is quite evident. According to the parents, the requirements to find the right person in China include similar interests or lifestyle and compatibility in financial status. These factors are believed to increase the chances of establishing a lasting commitment. During the Chinese New Year, which begins on February 5th, people take vacations to spend the week with their family. However, Chinese women aged 30 and over who are still single receive additional benefits at work, such as 8 extra days off during the New Year and the right to leave work early throughout the year. This is a way to encourage women to look for a partner to start a family. This benefit is known as dating leave and also applies to single female teachers over 30 years old. A woman over the age of 27 is considered a leftover woman in Chinese society, making it more difficult for her to find a partner and also frowned upon. The dating license was a strategic measure adopted by the government to increase women's marriage prospects and maintain a balance between the number of young and elderly people in Chinese society. Many encounters before the first kiss relationships in China function similarly to those in Japan and South Korea. Generally, people only go on dates with the aim of getting married, and romantic relationships are conservative at the beginning. It is not common to hug, kiss, or show physical affection at the start of a relationship. Some important details to highlight are that Chinese women pay attention to what they consider important, such as the job you have. For example, when they go out for a walk, they expect their partner to carry their bags. Additionally, they like to document every moment and take photos of everything. There are so many details that can only be understood through experience in the culture. If you go on a date with a Chinese girl or guy, you should know that in their mind, you are already in a relationship. This applies to common people. However, if you go to tourist spots or bars in China, this mentality is not as common, as people who frequent these places tend to stray from the traditional Chinese lifestyle. There are many other aspects of Chinese culture that we can explore. Comment below if you are already aware of these curiosities about how people live in China and which of these points you liked knowing about, and I hope to see you in our next video.